It's the fat show. For 4 days straight, people poured into the location to witness it. Not just ordinary citizens, but influential figures, political leaders, celebrities. This was Hilda's attempt at the world's longest cooking marathon, and she was succeeding. But as I watch this moment unfold through my screen, I find one problem with the conversation surrounding this event. People simply find it interesting, a fun record, like a game being played. They don't realize that moments like this carry weight. They reveal something about culture, about determination, and about how ordinary acts can become extraordinary symbols. And now she's at it again. Hilda has announced a challenge to cook the world's largest pot of jollof rice. But before we talk about why this matters, let's take a step back for a moment. Who is Hilda Baci? Just like a good portion of the country's graduates who end up having a career in something that has nothing to do with their university degree, Hilda, after getting a sociology degree, she moved to explore a passion for cooking by embarking on a culinary education program, and then she started her own restaurant called My Food by Hilda in Lagos, Nigeria. Then the year 2021 came when she started to gain the public's attention. She participated in the Jollof Face Off competition and she won, which earned her the title Jollof Queen. This name stuck because on many occasions, she's known for her expertise in making the dish. But this was only the beginning. It very quickly became clear that Hilda's aspirations as a chef go beyond the conventional. There were several routes she could go. There were several marketing routes she could pursue. She had experience in the show business. She had connections from her time as a private chef. So she had connections with this wealthy people. And she was a content creator. But in March 2023, the 27-year-old Nigerian declared her intent to be celebrated, remembered, and to make her mark by announcing that she will be attempting the record for the world's longest cooking time. Cooking for over 4 days, Hilda's record was acknowledged by the Guinness World Records as the longest cooking marathon, 93 hours and 11 minutes. The Guinness World Records organization said Hilda's record attempt was so popular that it crashed the Guinness World Records website for 2 days when it was confirmed in June 2023. And as I watched the event unfold through every live stream and the hundreds of videos that people in attendance constantly poured out, I found people's interest in the challenge and the flow of conversation quite interesting. As interesting as watching a child chase after a balloon. Amusing, but naive. Bland. People treated the whole thing like a casual game, entertained by the motion but blind to the substance. And now, Hilda once again took the internet by storm on August 22nd, 2025, when she announced that she would attempt to cook the largest pot of jollof rice. A record that was at the time non-existent in the Guinness World Records. But she aimed to pioneer it. She barely just finished the cook-a-thon and she's like, you know what? I need my next hit. So how about we cook the world's largest pot of jollof rice? She definitely gets high off the challenge. After 9 hours of fire, passion, and teamwork, with a custom 23,000 liter pot, she served 16,600 plates of rice. And on the 15th of September, the Guinness World Records recognized our efforts as the largest serving of jollof rice, 8,780 kilograms. But here's the thing. In the performance of these two records, majority of people were inspired, entertained, proud. There were also the dissenting voices, people who dismissed it as just cooking or a gimmick for recognition. Some even asked, why should we celebrate rice when we have bigger problems in the country? Other countries are busy building, innovating, but you're here cooking rice and you're proud of it. Now, I think both the admirers and the critics, they have something in common. They stopped at the surface level. They saw the act, but not what it represents. They saw the record, but not the meaning behind it. And that's what I want to dig into today. Because when you look closely, you realize that what Hilda has done speaks to something much larger. So let's start by establishing something. This is culture and representation. When Nigerian artists sing on a global stage, like Burna Boy performing at the Grammy Awards. We don't say it's just singing. We understand that it's Nigeria's voice, rhythm, and language being heard across the world. When a celebrity steps onto the red carpet wearing a Nigerian designer, we don't call it just a dress. We know it's fashion, carrying the story of where we're from, our style, our creativity. In the same way, when Hilda cooks on a global stage, in this case, the Guinness World Records, we cannot say it's just cooking. Cooking is culinary art, and through it, she's representing Nigeria. What she did was more than a record. It was a performance showcasing our endurance, culinary identity, and a glimpse into the workings of a Nigerian kitchen. Cooking over 100 pots of food during our 4-day kitchen stint, including both Nigerian and international dishes. It was a theatrical performance and a representation of Nigeria as a place of culinary excellence. And when she cooked the largest pots of jollof rice, this was an exhibition of the Nigerian culture on a global stage. See, food is weaved into our culture as much as music or our traditional clothing. So jollof rice is not just a food. It's a cultural expression. It's a dish that carries history, memory, and meaning. Jollof rice is a dish made by I'm trying to show off my culinary abilities. It's made by frying onions, spices, your tomato paste, pepper mix. You add in your rice, add in a little bit of water, cook in low heat. Any other way, any other ingredients, I'm sorry, that's not Nigerian jollof rice. It's a dish that's served in every occasion, birthdays, funerals, to celebrate the birth of a new child. It forms a part of who we are. Why do you think Nigeria and Ghana care so much about whose jollof rice tastes the best? Whose jollof rice represents this West African dish? Because it's not just food, it's culture. It's national identity. And in that moment, when Hilda was making it, it became a cultural ambassador speaking to the world that this is who we are. When I say pasta, you think Italy. I say kimchi, you think Korea. Taco, you think Mexico. If you say different, they're gonna come for you, because you'd be taking away from them what's theirs. You'd be taking away from them a huge signifier of who they are. Hilda did not just cook rice to win the Guinness World Records. It was a performance and exhibition of the Nigerian culture on a global stage. When Hilda stepped into that kitchen, she wasn't just cooking. She was helping to sketch Nigeria's place in the world's imagination. Global perception looks like this. I'm going to mention a few countries, and I want you to say one thing that comes to your mind that you relate to that country. I'll give you a few seconds, and then I'll tell you what comes to your mind. You can also type it in the comments. Japan. What do you think of when you hear Japan? What are some things that you associate to Japan? I think Shibuya. Shibuya crossing. Sushi. Okay? I think kimono. I think streetwear. Okay? I love Japanese streetwear fashion. I get inspiration from there. Mexico. What do you think when I say Mexico? Type it down in the comments. Let me know. I think taco. I think cowboy hats. Italy. What do you think of? What do you associate with Italy? Pasta. South Korea. This one should be pretty easy. You either think of K-pop or K-dramas. That's like the major representation of the country. Last one, France. I think of Paris. I think of the Eiffel Tower. I think of culinary excellence. Yeah, when I was younger, I wanted to be a chef. And I told myself I would go to culinary school in France, because I just had this thought in my mind that is the place of culinary excellence. These are cultural associations that countries have successfully imprinted in the global consciousness. When I say Nigeria, what do you think? Okay, write in the comments. Let me know what you think. The thing is that Nigeria is still struggling to cement its own symbols in the minds of people. For many outside Africa, African countries that have less distinct identities in the global consciousness, they become nothing more than Africa. It's like a child only known by their family name. I say I'm Nigerian, you say Africa? You don't even know my name. The continent is still a vague blur to many, shaped by stereotypes of poverty, corruption, or chaos. And this is exactly why Hilda's endeavor matters. It offered the world a different image. Because suddenly, when I say I'm Nigerian, you don't think poverty or Africa or corruption. Rather, you think, oh, Hilda Baci, jollof rice. You think resilience. You think creativity. You think culture. You have to understand that how people see our country, your country, is by extension how they see you. And this Hilda's endeavor is a part of the continuing process to changing people's perception of us. So it's sad that so many people are underestimating the relevance of Hilda's undertakings in shaping global perception of the Nigerian culture and society. She gave Nigeria another image to stand on, something people can easily associate with us, like tacos for Mexico and kimchi for South Korea, or pasta for Italy. This is important because whether we like it or not, people judge us based on these cultural markers, which become the shorthand for who we are. This trickles and glimpses of our culture that we provide through food, through our films, our music, and our arts. Okay, these parts of our culture that we exhibit become identifiable symbols that cement Nigeria in the minds of people all over the world. Now, if perception is about being seen and felt, soft power is about what you can do with that perception, how you can turn recognition into influence. Most people would say the United States is the most powerful country in the world. Why? They've got the most powerful military. Well, China says hello. So does Russia, North Korea. Okay, maybe largest economy, population, land mass. The US is the most powerful because they've mastered the arts of make their governments fear you, but let their people love you. And you'll be thinking, what do you mean by love you? How and why do people love a country? They sure as hell don't fall in love with your big ass fucking weapons. There are actually quite a number of reasons, but people fall in love with a country, a people, because of the stories they tell. Your music, movies, books, art, your celebrities. These things make people laugh, cry. They make them dream. Tell them about your story, your people, your history, your culture. Then they start to admire you, trust you. And I read somewhere that the highest or the purest or truest, form of love is imitation. I'm not quite sure I agree, but it's applicable for this. When people love a country, they get to a point they want to know everything about it. The value systems, the beliefs, most especially the culture, the food, the fashion, the language. The only country that has been able to cultivate this soft power in recent decades is South Korea. It is the clearest demonstration of how culture translates into influence. Think about it. In just a few decades, South Korea went from being a war-torn country to becoming one of the cultural powerhouses of the world. K-pop is breaking records in global music charts. K-dramas are consistently ranking among Netflix's most watched shows. And Korean games are running the esports world. Their entertainment has become so big worldwide that it's making the country a shit ton of money, and the value of their cultural exports keep increasing every year. When people outside of your borders start learning your language, millions of people around the world are learning Korean. When they start eating your food, following fashion trends, using K-beauty products, although the K-beauty products they're just that good. They're watching your films, listening to your music. All these, not because they were forced to, but because they want to. That's soft power, okay? That's influence. And it's just a fucking tiny country in Asia. I mean, I know I know Son Heung-min and Lee Kang-in, but I don't even watch football. I know Faker, but I don't know jack shit about gaming or esports. That's the power of culture. Now, imagine Nigeria. Imagine if jollof rice, our food, Afrobeats, Nollywood, and even events like Hilda's cook-a-thon were consistently projected with intention as what Nigeria has to offer. Not just, we don't only think of them as random achievements. What Hilda did, even if small in comparison to a global K-pop wave, it's still a part of the process. And as a society, we need to dip that. Every act that showcases Nigerian culture through music, food, or film is planting a seed which over time blossoms in the minds of people. But at the end of the day, beyond cultural pride, beyond how the world sees us, and beyond even the soft power Nigeria can gain, Hilda's cook-a-thon and record for the world's largest pot of jollof rice is at its core a human story, a story of vision, resilience, and courage. Hilda carried this dream and prepared for it, the cook-a-thon, for 5 years before she finally attempted it. She went to the gym, lost 20 kg, trained her body to endure what she knew she was going to face, the lack of sleep, 4 days on her feet, the mental battle. And she stood there, she did, in front of the fire and cooked for 100 hours. That's not just food. That's great. That's about daring to imagine something so much more bigger than yourself and then walking towards it with everything you've got. For young women, Hilda's story is powerful because it pushes back against the quiet limitations that society attempts to place. And for Nigerians, it tells us that even in the middle of insecurity, hardship, and criticism, we can still create, and that we can create moments that inspire and bring pride. And to anyone watching, what's your own cook-a-thon? Do you dare to dream? A dream so big, you're gonna have to build your own damn pot to contain it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and check out other videos in the catalog. You might just find something that speaks to you. Until next time, my name is Mariam Fad.